Thank you so, so much. I never take it lightly when I am blessed to sit in the presence of brilliance, which both of you absolutely are. And we are going to dive in. I am Alechia Reese, and above all the things, because I am definitely a multi-hyphenate, I am a creative strategist above all things. And I firmly believe in giving folks the tools to create lives that feel as good as they look, because we look good, okay? We do. We look good. But what we want to also do is make sure we're feeling good. So with this conversation, we're able to highlight and showcase how folks are able to take the passions that make them feel really, really good and create profits so that their lives can feel as good as they look. So before we tap in and dive deep, I want to know, who are you ladies? Outside of your roles, outside of your titles, outside of the things that you do, who would you say you are, Dr. Jatali?
Why you gotta make me go first? It's a little bit cuter. You should go to the cute one. I'm joking. So, who I am above all is just a person who loves to multiply brands, people, money, especially in particular, and see Black and brown people in particular win. And I'm also a person who's used to being the only one in the room. Mm-hmm. And at one point or the other, you get tired of being the only person in the room. And that created a burning desire for me to create more only other people in the room.
Yeah.
And so that's who I am. I'm a lover of people and sisterhood and brotherhood. And I've literally can gracefully, thankfully say that universe and God have brought a beautiful brotherhood and sisterhood around me. Yeah. And so now I get to give peace and receive peace. And that's my mantra. So who I am is, I would like to say at times, peace and happiness.
I love it. I love that. Ooh. And what about you, LaToya?
I am a woman of God.
Hey. Hallelujah.
Honestly, I am just really blessed, and I love to give the blessings back.
Yeah.
I am a mother. I know you said outside of being a mom, but I love being a mom to my tiny human. Like she is the best person I could ever have thought of being. Like, how are you so compassionate? How are you so empathetic? Yeah. How are you such a comedian at this age?
Yeah.
And her disability doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful to see. I wake up to watch that every day. Although, give me my space. I wake up to watch that every day. And I'm just blessed that I was given the opportunity to be her mother.
Oh, I love this. See, that is a passion point. And so what we're going to be talking into, one of the things that I want each of you to think about as we are going throughout this panel is I want you to just one thing that you are incredibly passionate about that you have not yet monetized, because I'm going to have them to give you a strategy to help you do so. So figure out what that one thing is. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share it out unless you're just feeling real friendly today. We're okay with that if you are. But just one thing that you are incredibly passionate about that you maybe have wanted or you've thought about monetizing it, but you have not yet, okay? So that's y'all. Everybody got a role. Everybody got a job to do. That's y'all job. You cool with it? Okay, bet. All right. So we are about to dive in. One of the number one things that people have difficulty doing is identifying what they want, deciding on what that is, and then creating how to make money around it. Now, that's a whole mouthful masterclass program. But what I would like to know, and either one of you can answer first, is what is the first step? Because that seems to be the hardest part. Step one.
I'll tell you this, right? I had to jump right in. I am a big believer that if you're not willing to do it for free, then it might not be your true passion. Ooh. And I'm not saying it has to remain for free, but in that beginning phase, rather you're going to become a public speaker, rather you're going to have a finance curriculum, rather you're going to be the best mom in the world. If you're not willing to do that job or that thing for free, it might not be a thing. And so I tell people in the beginning, the amount of hours that you have to put into it as well is the second thing.
Yes.
Right? So if you're not willing, we go to jobs for other people. Some of us literally have a 9 to 5 and we literally do that 8 hours and leave. But I don't know a lot of people in this climate who go into work and only do 8 hours. Most people are doing 10 to 12, 13, 14 hours for someone else's company and brand. But we're not willing to put even 10 hours for ourselves, 3 hours for ourselves, 2 hours for ourselves. If you're not willing to every day take at least 1 hour, 2 hours to put towards your craft, either learning something that's going to make you better towards your goal, or actually putting in the energy. Like, even if it's something like, I need to do a trademark, and overwhelming, it might be overwhelming, but every day, just let me put 10 minutes aside, an hour aside to do the research and see if it's something I can file. If you're not willing to put the hours or do it for free, then it might not be your passion. So those are the two main things I would say. And once again, reminder, free does not mean we're going to stay at free. It just means sometimes to get the visibility, to get the footage, to get the connections, you're going to have to sometimes make sacrifices where you're in a room and you might not get paid. You might be in a room with like one person, right? I remember one of my friends was going to this conference. She walked in, and at the conference, there was literally only like 3 people in the crowd, right? It wasn't like this was set up as an intimate setting, right, on purpose. But that particular setting was supposed to be a big thing. And she was like, girl, I'm not going to go on stage. They got me fucked up. And pardon me. They got me messed up. Let's edit that part. And,
It sounded.
and, you know, so she called me and she says this, and I'm like, yo, you there for the million people or the 3? Because those 3 people, all it takes is one person hearing one thing. That one moment can spark something that's bigger than you, than me. So take your ego out of it and go out there and rock like a superstar. You know what I mean? Because you don't know who needs to hear what at that moment.
So first step, you would say, is actually doing the thing that you say you want to do. You got to do the
What it
thing.
looks like.
Okay, I love that.
I would agree with that. You know, I think that people forget that doesn't matter. It's always you're always in training. You're always in practice mode, right? You're preparing for your bigger stage, because just because there's only 2 people, again, you don't know if those 2 people needed to hear that message. But I'll take it another step. What I often find is that people don't believe in themselves. People don't believe that they have what it takes to do the thing that they want to do. And they'll do a couple of steps, they'll take a couple of actions, but when there's no result, when there's no immediate result, they'll give up. They'll quit because they don't believe in themselves. Let me tell you, I cashed in my 401k to start my business. I believed that by any means necessary. I paid creators before I paid myself. I believe in what I'm doing, right? No matter what, no matter how hard the day is, it doesn't matter. You have to believe that you have what it takes to do what it is that you want to do. Like, no matter what anyone else thinks. No one knew what the creator economy was. No one knew what influencer marketing was back in 10 years ago, right? I was like, I don't care. I was like, this is the wave. I see it. I see it. It's not for everyone to see your vision. It is for you to activate your vision and make them see the result. So I would say just start with believing that you have what it takes to do what it is that you want to do.
Okay, so now listen, y'all. I was a teacher in a past life, not in this lifetime, but in a past life, I absolutely was. And so I heard you say, so the first step is to do whatever it is that you say. So if you are a writer, write. If you are a musician, play or write you some music, if that's what you are. If you are a hairstylist, do some hair, even if it's your baby dolls or your sister or your homegirls. Do the thing that you say it is that you do. So that was number 1. Number 2, you said you have to believe in it. So if you're doing it, but you don't believe it, your actions will negate whatever it is your mind says. So your actions will do it, but then your mind will tell you you can't, and then you'll stop because you're not seeing progress. So, okay, step 1 is do. Step 2 is you have to believe it. So that means shifting your mindset. And then I know you probably didn't mean to, but I heard a step 3 in there and a step 4. A step 3 is to make the time no matter what. No matter what, you make the time. If you can give somebody else 10, 12 hours and you can give yourself, you said 1, I'm going to say at least 4. You can give yourself at least 4.
But I'm going to stop on the time piece, because people think they don't have the time, but y'all be on Instagram all day. Y'all be on Facebook all day. Y'all be watching television. First of all, my television does not turn on Monday through Friday at all.
And you be at that man or girl house laid up.
Okay. Like, I legit sacrifice a good time sometimes for the time that I need to write this proposal. To send out that email, to write, to do the thing that I believe in.
Yes.
Making the time is really a lot about sacrifice. Like, I'm in another group chat and they be like, oh, we brunching. No, I am not.
I'm not brunching.
I'm not brunching. Like, I need my coins. Okay. I am fiscally responsible. But also that Sunday, I'm actually taking 8 hours to put into my business.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice.
Yeah. And the biggest sacrifice of them all is now listen, this part y'all might get a little squeamish about, but that's okay. I think you can handle it. And if not, that's all right. Pray a little bit and then come right on back. Is the making sure you are investing your money into what you say you want. Mm-hmm. If you have stingy energy and you don't want to give your money to nothing that grows you, glows you, expands you, or helps you to reach what you want, then you lose. So this piece we about to talk about, because you said you liquidated your 401k, and I know you love all things the expansion and growth of monies, okay? We're about to talk about the monies. When folks feel as though they don't have enough money in particular, how do you begin the process of, okay, I don't have enough, but I need to still start? How do you start to get enough? Like, what does that look like? Because to be a creator, you need a little something, no? Or at least a cell phone at work.
So it's not about I don't have enough, is you just don't have it right now.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's the shift in your mind, right? Okay. It's I don't have it right now.
Okay.
What do I need to do in order to get it?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I always say you can iron out a plan. It doesn't need to be a solid, like, this is down to the minute, the money, the penny. You just need to have a strategy, an idea of how this is going to execute.
Yes.
Because then you can say, all right, well, I do need a trademark, but do I need my trademark today? You don't need your trademark today. You can wait for a little bit because no one knows your business today, right? So at what point in your milestone do you need that trademark, and how much money do you need when it's time?
Okay.
Because then you create the savings plan to get that, right? You know, I need a trademark in 3 months. It's going to cost me $1,500 to get this trademark. Okay. 3 months. What do I need to do in 3 months to raise $1,500?
Yeah.
It's not that you don't have enough, is you don't have it right now. Yeah. And you don't need it right now because you can do a billion other cost-effective things.
Yeah.
Before you need that trademark. Mm-hmm. And it's the lack of planning that gets people caught up in, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money. No. You just need to know your plan. Yeah. And because you have a 9-to-5, and that 9-to-5 is funding your dream.
Your first investor.
Okay. So it's how you spend that money. How are you using the money that someone is paying you already to get you to where you need to go? You have to really think through your plan.
Okay.
So I'm very big on actionable and executionable steps.
Yes.
So for anyone who needs actionable and executionable things that you could do, because the mental is definitely one part of it. The other part is, okay, well, now I got the mental, right? So maybe you don't have a 9-to-5. Maybe you have a 9-to-5 and every dollar is accounted for. I think that so many people do not, especially Black and brown communities, in my opinion, do not factor in grants and free money that are sitting there, right? So the first thing I would tell you is grant.gov alone will have hundreds of thousands of them. There are grants for people with curly hair just because. No, like literally legit. Like the other day, NASA was paying people to sleep for 5 days. And it was like $30,000 to sleep for 5 days, right? This happened last year. They were testing out something new. And so literally there's different ways of making money. The first thing is looking for the funding. One of the funding sites that I like, for instance, is Kiva, Kiva. Kiva is a funding platform that does microloans up to like $10,000 and $20,000. And so anybody, what you basically need to do is have a good business idea, create a cool video, have a website up. And as long as you can create your own website, and now there's AI platforms that create you a free website. Let's put that out there. So literally, you can literally go on Kiva, and you just need to have like, sometimes they'll tell you 10 or 20 family members or friends who believe in your goal enough to put $20 towards it. And once that happens, it opens you up to a world of investors around the world who would look at your company and potentially invest in it. I've known people in less than 24 hours who needed $20,000 of seed money for their business who went on that platform and got it done. And the first step was just getting 10 of their own family members or friends to donate $20 towards their goal and their idea. And so I say that because we sometimes don't realize how many grants and resources are out there for us, even with real estate, right? We're like, oh, I want to invest in real estate. I don't have the money. The government literally has some grants that can happen and it can help you with that, right? Especially if you're going to invest in an opportunity zone, aka inner city communities, etc., that are up and coming. Another thing financially I would tell you is looking at, now we're looking at opportunity zones. Oh, that's great. Did you also think about the fact that if you build your business credit, that goes very far in America? There's a privilege of being in America. Right now we're in cons, but a lot of countries don't have a strong, aggressive credit system. And so when you're in a country that has an aggressive credit system like America, where you can have business credit, and because it's high, even if your personal credit is bad, if you have good business credit, you can go and get $1 million loan for a building or a property. And the paperwork is really light as of right now, right? They might change those, but as of right now, you can go in, you fill in a couple of things, and because of your credit profile, that goes far. So the biggest things I would tell you is that the money is there. Even mentorship. Sometimes it's not about money, it's about access. So, right, you might see a mentor that you can't afford to pay the $20,000 for the mentorship, but you have a barter, right? What is your skill? We all have a skill. I don't care if you're a stylist, a photographer, a website creator. I don't care if you are an accountant. You have something that person, you might be like, can I look over your books for you and tell you that you left $20,000 on the table, and in return, can you mentor me or allow me to shadow you for a day? Right? Because a lot of people will help you if you're willing to not just take and be like, here's an even exchange. Yeah. So these are all things that are financial. These are all money things that you could do, because money is not always about the financial currency. Yeah. It's about the energy, which is also currency.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, listen. Okay, a whole snap. Listen. Now, I want to make sure that we tap into your questions. So start getting the questions now. I too don't like to always be put on the spot. So I'm going to let you know now. I'm going to come to y'all after this next question. So I need you to be ready. Can y'all be ready? I need you to hear. I want to hear you say, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. So now this next question. So we talked about how to get started. What's the first step? Then we talked about, okay, money, where we get the money from. Now I want to talk about, okay, so once we're in it, right? We figured it out. What I have seen is most people do not understand, how do I take these gifts, take these talents and make money from it? Right? Like, so for me, I'm really, 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 and I like to toot my own horn. You ain't got to worry about me being humble over here. I'm really, really good at connecting people. For most people, how in the heck do I make money from connecting people? So what I like to do is write down, hey, who pays people to connect them? What does that look like? What are those jobs? What are those opportunities? So my question for you both is how do we figure out, and once we've identified the skill, we're getting our money, the best businesses, they diversify their products, their services, their offerings. What does that look like though for a creative who just figured out how to start, who just got the money, and now they're trying to figure out, okay, but now what do I do with the money that I've got, the steps that I've taken to start? How do I create opportunities for people to pay me?
Mm-hmm. You definitely need a website. Sometimes you need a website. You just need a place where people can pay for your service, or pay for your product. Mm-hmm. But before that, you want to make sure you're making money, right? You understand your margin, your real business model.
So how do we get there then?
So it depends. If you have a product-based business or if you have a service-based business, those business models are two different things. But from as a creative, if you're selling a service, it can be really challenging to figuring out where do you start and how do you price, right? When I first started, I looked at all of my expenses, my living expenses. I said, well, how much does it cost me to live every month? Yeah. And how much money over that do I want to have for cushion? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of just where I started before I understood business. So you don't have to have a huge business mindset in the beginning, but make it your business to learn your business. Mm-hmm. But again, understanding your operational cost. How much does it cost you to operate? And then, do you want to make 10% on top of that? Do you want to make 20% on top of that? That is your margin. right? And then you put yourself out there. You have to this is my rate. And this is the value I bring to you. This is why you're paying for this. Yeah. People always say, oh, pay me what I'm worth, but no one knows what you're worth. You know what you're worth. Yeah. No one else knows what you're worth. Yeah. But if you articulate your value, no one can take away, because the value is in perception, right? And you have to articulate that to them. Like, this is what you're getting. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this is what you're going to get in return. This is this is my team, or whatever the case may be, right? You have to articulate the value so that people will pay whatever you want them to pay. They're not going to question that.
Okay, I will say one contradictory thing.
Oh, go ahead.
While you know your value, also keep in mind where you are in your phase of your career and your brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, for instance, I had
not contradictory. That's
supportive. Exactly.
Right? So if you're just getting started and you see, like, you go into a Gucci store, you saw a $4,000 dress, right? But you just got started. You cannot expect, without building your brand and bringing in the clientele that she's asking you about or she's talking about, you cannot expect to walk out the door automatically and your dress is going to be worth $4,000. You might have to sell a dress or two for $200 and build that brand to $4,000. So I just wanted to make that point real quick, because yes, you know your value, right? But you have to build yourself. Even myself, like, I left corporate, I was managing 3.1 billion and I was like, oh, I'm the shit. I'm gonna be killing this game. And I came out, nobody knew who I was. So I created a finance curriculum and I was trying to get into schools, and they're looking at me like, okay, well, what celebrity's backing you? What bank is backing you? I'm like, I don't got that, but I got this experience and a dope curriculum. And they were looking at me like, we don't give a fuck about your curriculum. So I say that to say I had to humbly be like, you know what? My first 3 schools are basically free. You know what I mean? I basically got only enough for transportation, but I did it so I could get the case studies up there. Start knowing who are the key superintendents and people I need to be around. And sometimes you have to build that. So I just want to say that. All right. So to answer your question in regards to, like, how do you get the community that's going to pay you? The first thing I would tell you is community building, in the sense of there are so many group chats. There are so many group meetup websites and platforms that you can go onto. And those platforms are your best friend when you're trying to build your brand. Find your tribe. If you're a philanthropist and you like to give back, you don't have to start your nonprofit from scratch. You can actually go and donate time to a nonprofit that's already established, because that's in the field that you like. So, like, let's say if you like helping your pediatrician and you want to create a community of pediatricians, right? Then you might go to, like, a conference for pediatricians, because now all the like-minded people are in that room. Same way if you're dating, same thing. If you like a man with money or a woman with money, whoever your substance is, go to a conference where the people are paying maybe $20,000 to go. But the other day was the Milken Institute. The Milken Institute conference, people pay like $30,000 to go to that conference. So if you're like, hey, I want to be in a room where people have a certain amount of money because I made 10 million, but I'm trying to figure out how to get to 100 million, then you might have to take $30,000 out of your pocket to go to that more expensive conference. You might pay $50 to go to that networking event. So the first thing is finding tribes that already exist. And it's not about latching onto somebody else's tribe, but it's just being in a room with people who are like-minded. Because if you're a geek and this person's a geek, guess what? Geeks unite, right? So this is what we want to do. So that's number one. E-commerce. Do not sleep on the power of e-commerce, even on Instagram, right? So if you have a post that you do, such as today I'm having a sad day, and you're talking about like mental health or something like that, and you want to find other people who are honestly caring about mental health, that might be an ad where you run $5 on that ad for the day on Instagram to attract people who think like you, who are like, you know what, I had a bad day today too. You know what, here's a Bible verse that got me through the day. Here's a book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself was one of my favorite mental health books, right, by Joe Dispenza. Here's a book that you can read. And, so just putting out a $5 ad, guess what? 2 things happen. It builds awareness for your brand, and it builds awareness for your Instagram, your social media, and now you're attracting, once again, like-minded people. So when you're thinking about building a community financially, who can pay you, go to the rooms where the people have money. If they're going to only the free events, they might not have the money that they want to give you. They might have the money, but they don't want to give you the money. She said she was frugal. I mean, I might be like, yo, sis, let's go on this yacht party. She's like, I'm not about that life unless it's free. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm not spending yacht money. I'm trying to buy a yacht.
I'm trying to buy a yacht.
You know, she's like, I'm trying to buy a yacht. I don't want to spend money on someone else's yacht. So, you know, and that's okay, right? So just attract the people that you want and just keep thinking about it like that.
So now I told y'all I was coming to y'all. So I hope y'all did y'all homework. You on your job. You on your job. Okay, so I want to make sure, like I said, that we are inviting folks to ask their questions. So who has a question for both of our panelists?
I have a question.
Oh, okay. What was the comment?
Hey, everybody. Sorry, club quarantine.
Boy, I got no voice though.
Your name and where your company is.
Yeah, I'm Sequoia Data Bay Glenn. I run a consultancy called 924 Cooperative right in the A. So good to see some folks again. We focus on strategy, market research, and analytics. So hence the Data Bay. I just wanted to give you your flowers. I know you don't remember me. It was 5 hairstyles ago. But the reason why I'm here, you in the pandemic, you had a free Canva presentation group. It was like in Mem Connect. This is 4 years ago. And you taught us how to build our speakers kit. And you were very transparent about your rates in which corporations were paying you to speak. I was a young hustler, y'all. I was broke as shit. I liquidated everything. I took some equity out and I was like, I got to quit this job and build my agency. And back to what you all were saying, sometimes you just have to do stuff for free. Now, you were making money. Let's not be, but you gave that workshop for free. I think it might have been 20 women on that call. And you talked to us, I think it was like Got Value Nation or something. And you talked to us about monetizing. When you talked about building things, sometimes you have to start with that free investment in yourself. You taught me to stop speaking for free for these corporations, charge something, just at least put $500 towards it so they take you seriously. That I wasn't making money through clients. I didn't have any, but I had a voice and I knew how to present. And when I started monetizing my speaking, that's when the deals came. 2 years after you gave me that advice, so this was 2022, I did monetize my speaking at a conference. And that conference led me to my very first 6-figure client that paid for me to be here. So the value that these ladies, the value that you all have shared, while, like I said, I know that it's like, who the hell is this girl with this country accent, right? But it doesn't matter who I am. I just want to make sure you always remember who you are. And the advice that these ladies are saying is real. It's helped me with my business. And next year we'll see how we're going to do these salon conversations again, because what I'm innovating on now with that 6-figure client is a product that's for us and that we're behind. And I just value everything that y'all have said in this space because it really is real. And those of us that are in high value service businesses, we really need this advice. We're not selling widgets. We don't have, okay, I sell 10 of these. No, I don't have that. But my life cycle for a client is about 18 months to nurture a relationship. But it's a 6-figure one that pays me to be here and listen to y'all's voices. So I just wanted to say thank you all.
Oh, I love that. I love that for you. So great.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing.
I know. I didn't know that. So thank you. Now I got to.
I love me a country accent. We talk about that all week.
Okay.
That's when they say baby.
It do something different to you. Get your
I
grizzle.
tell you, British does nothing for me. I'll be like, yeah. And
It's
then
okay.
I'll be like, baby. I'll be like, oh.
It do something for us though. It gets us. You have a question?
Hey y'all.
Hello.
Okay. Y'all already know me, so I'm not gonna give my name.
Oh, but everyone doesn't know you, so thank you so
okay.
much.
Try this
So
again.
I'm Lakeisha Wimberly. I live in New York. I'm originally from Florida. So I do a lot, but I have an HR consulting company, and then I also do some corporate stuff. So everyone here is multi-hyphenated. You guys do a lot of things. What was your experience like going from your corporate role to venturing out onto your own to do your own thing? I know for me, I started building my business while I was still in corporate. So I had my nice little cushion, right? But then you get kind of comfortable there because you have your nice cushion. You have a lifestyle that you've built. So when did you say, okay, it's time to take my leap? Like, I got to go.
God gave me my way out. And he legit, I just left my corporate job a month ago, actually. It was a month ago. And the interesting thing is my job gave me 6 months pay after and 12-month healthcare for me and my daughter. Wow. Like that's when I knew I'm in alignment with like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm constantly doing the work and I'm in service every day. I'm in service to my community. I'm in service to my clients. I'm in service to my child. And I'm also in service to my family. I retired my father. I have real estate and I really feel like I'm doing all of the right work. And that's when I knew, like, I can't split my time. I can't split my time in corporate and in my business. It was just impossible. That's what I knew.
That's beautiful. And congratulations for dating, by the way. In front of everybody, the congratulations.
Thank you.
The first thing I would say for me was I had this idea for Kids Who Bank, which was my first company leaving corporate, which is a youth financial literacy org. And I sat on it for a year because I was waiting for other people to believe in me. Mm-hmm. And that included like close family relatives and close friends, including a woman who worked at Morgan Stanley who was a multi-millionaire. And at that point, I hadn't made my first million yet. And I went to her and I gave her the idea after talking to family about it that I trusted. And I went to this woman who's well-established VP of she was a VP of one of the sectors, and she's boss. And she was like, "Oh, I don't like this idea. It's not a good idea. Stay where you're at." Mm. And for almost a year, I stayed where I was at because I was like, if my family's telling me to stay and this woman's telling me to stay, maybe I should stay. And then it just stayed on my heart heavy. And I kept thinking, I'm going to wake up one day and be the shoulda, coulda, woulda woman. And when I realized that, it just remained heavy on my heart. Like I just had to do this. And I kept thinking about it. I would hear like somebody would call me like, can you talk to my daughter about investing in the barter system or saving and blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like I had baby boomers who were like, can you teach me the stock market? Meanwhile, they're like 70 something years old. And you can't teach. They say you can't teach them. You know what I mean? Once you reach a certain age, and then I would realize I would come in and they'd be like, oh, wow, this finally makes sense to me. And the universe kept showing me that this was my calling, but I was denying it because other people told me it wasn't. Yeah. And then one day I was like, you know what? I just got to try. So motherhood was the push I needed. And I was like, I don't want a stranger raising my child, but if I'm going to take off this time for maternity leave, and I had the cushion of savings to be able to take that time off, I was like, I'm going to give him at least a year, maybe 2. And in that time frame, I'm going to try to be an entrepreneur and see what happens. And then, of course, challenges, whatever happens. But one of the things that really stuck out to me, my first launch, which I had a book launch / panel, and my books did not arrive, guys. And when they finally got there during the middle of the panel, we opened the box. And after the front page of the book, the words were missing inside the bloody book. So I had a book launch with no books, right? And so when I tell you things happen, but at that same event, the woman from Morgan Stanley was there. And she's like, oh my God, girl, this was so amazing. What made you think of this? And I'm looking at her like,
I had a conversation with you.
I was like, I told you about this a year ago. You told me this was a bad idea. And she was like, I would never. I said, you really did. I think I still have the text messages. And she's like, if you could show me that, I'm going to donate $5,000 to your company. That same night before 3:00 in the morning, she had the screenshots. But the second thing, what was really important to me afterwards.
Did she donate that $5,000?
She did.
Amen.
And what was really interesting was the next day she called me and she apologized. And she said, I was actually in the middle of getting my divorce and I was just pessimistic about life. And that moment, what it taught me, I get goosebumps. What it taught me at that moment was I was about to base my success off of somebody else's insecurities and doubts. And that was a learning lesson, a moment for me. After that moment, I was like, I have to be self-sufficient and believe in my bloody self. Because if I can't believe in myself, how can I expect the world to believe in me? Because I don't know what you're going through. But what I do know is that God gave me a purpose. And this woman was going through such a bad moment that she was literally like just telling the whole world, bad idea, bad, because she was going through something intense. Yeah. So you can't base your success off of somebody else's failures.
But I will say it's so beautiful to hear that you come out of that. I talk self-belief all day long. Yeah. And when God gives you your purpose, no one can take it away from you.
Yeah.
It is all in right time. It might have not been the time for you to start when you went to her, right? So that was that moment of trying in your soul, right? It was for you to come out of it stronger and recognize, because had she given you the, yeah, girl, go get it done, you would have done it based on her giving you the girl, go get it done, right? So now that you had the courage to believe in yourself and recognize that the purpose was already in you, that's the biggest thing for me to hear. And congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And then now you just tapped into something. And I definitely want to make sure you get your question. Come on, we ready. We ready? Because you probably going to tap in. I feel like we aligned. Like we're not aligned.
Crazy. I don't necessarily have a question, but I just want to say that I love how heavily present God is in everything that you guys are discussing, how often you refer back to God and the divine timing and the alignment of it all. For me, that is so very powerful and confirms that this very moment is in alignment, that this very moment is divine. To sit here and listen to you Black women, I'm getting emotional. Oh my God. Like, you guys have no idea the way in this moment, each one of you are changing my life and transforming me as I sit in this seat. So I just want to say thank you from the depths of my soul.
You are most welcome. And I have two more questions, one for you, Dr. Jatali, and one for you, LaToya. Dr. Jatali, one of the things too, and you both spoke about doing multiple things, making sure that you are in communities where you're getting paid. And sometimes because you have multiple things, you can be getting revenue from multiple places. And I know piercing that corporate veil, when it comes to taxes, okay, can get you in a little trouble, okay? Right. And the one thing Uncle and Sam wants is his monies.
As if he worked here with us this year.
Listen.
Like, it's a whole salary you're asking for, okay?
You want a salary? Wait a minute. What you mean I owe you this much? That's 5-6 figures. Who do I need to speak to? I want to talk to the manager. So how can you, especially when you have multiple streams that are coming in, and I know you're not a tax attorney. This is not tax advice. You will need to consult. Okay. Disclaimer. You need to consult and pay your tax advisor. But just a little tidbit of what are some ways in which we can manage the income coming in from multiple different streams. Like just a quick 1-2 for us.
Okay. So once again, this is not professional advice. This is a professional opinion. I have my series and licenses, so I got to make sure I put that out there. Yes. All right. The first thing I will tell you is there are so many vehicles. Like, let's say you're in real estate. There are real estate trusts, right? A real estate trust can help you lower the mitigation of the taxes that you have to pay, or make sure that when you're passing it on to your family members, like your children and stuff like that, that they might not have to pay any taxes on that wealth when you disperse it to them. So that's the first thing. So it's also important to have a person to talk to, a tax accountant, etc., a real estate attorney, so that you could be like, hey, how do I make sure, do I transfer this to my child's name or from trust to trust, right? Because, you can have a family trust, right? So when we talk about wills and trusts, one of the biggest things you'll notice is if you pass away tomorrow, even if you're living, right, you can mitigate into like art, right? Art is one of the biggest ways that we as Black and brown people don't buy enough, but you can invest in art and then that can be passed on tax-free to your children and your loved ones. Outside of that, then you have, when you're looking at mitigating, we're looking at all this, we're like, oh, we want to save money. Do you even have your business incorporated properly, right? If you're making beyond a certain amount of money, that might be the time for you to sit down with somebody. If you're making more than $15,000, $20,000 profit, you should be sitting down, or not profit or not, you should be sitting down with somebody like, should this be an LLC? Should it be an S Corp or a C Corp? Should I have a Cayman Island offshore? Or should you be only here in the States, right? Because when you look at Rolex, for instance, right? I love their company, their brand. Rolex is a foundation. What does that mean?
They pay no tax.
They pay no bloody taxes. Rolex is a foundation that makes billions and trillions of dollars.
Yes,
And they pay no
they're a
taxes. They are a foundation. So the way you set up your actual business and corporation, rather it's a 501c3, or if you have a nonprofit, for instance, right? You can have a nonprofit that's paying the profit that's paying the nonprofit legally. Look up Cars for Kids, right? Cars for Kids is a company that the warehouse that they fixed and rehab the car seats, right, is a real estate piece of property and building that they own that they can pull equity from that is owned by a profit company. But then the nonprofit pays a profit company for the rental space. And then the nonprofit, blah, 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 and it's all legal. The nonprofit then buys the rehabbed car seats from the profit company. So you can always funnel your businesses back into each other where you're paying yourself. And like, if you like to get back and be a philanthropist, that's great. But why are you paying taxes on your philanthropy? Right? So you should have a nonprofit sector if you like to give back. And then another thing you can do to mitigate your taxes financially and make sure your money's going as far as it can is having like a living trust, right? Or even having real estate insurance. People don't know you can have renters insurance. If you are not an owner and you're not a landlord, you can have insurance so that if, God forbid, you lose your job tomorrow, there's something that's protecting you, as well as, landlord insurance. There's so many different layers to this game, and so many ways to mitigate your money. 401k, right? 529 plan. If you have a child, you can be taking a certain portion of your money, depending what state and country you're in. It could be $13,000 to $40,000, tax-free to invest in your child's education. The negative is if your child gets a fully paid scholarship and never uses any of that money, then you get double tax. So that's kind of whack. So be mindful how much you put in that. But then it's even down to like their acting classes that are tax-free investments that you can be paying for acting school and band and sports and all these kind of educational and different activities in America, especially. So the list goes on, but like 401ks, especially self-directed IRAs, all these things.
Okay, now my people perish for lack of knowledge. Okay, that is something that I constantly hold true, because you perish if you do not know. But you just listed out a whole lot. So where do we start? Which book? Because remember, you have an encyclopedia in your hand. Literally, if you have a cell phone in your hand, you have an entire encyclopedia. So you not knowing is your fault. No disrespect, my bad. I'm like warm tea and Hennessy. Sometimes it's warm tea, other times it's a little Hennessy, so it stings a little bit. But that's okay. But you have an encyclopedia in your hand, so you not knowing is your fault. That's on you. So where should we start? We could use this encyclopedia, whether it's an audio book, a physical book. Is it taking Googling? Like, where do we start?
Even ChatGPT will help you. If you're like, you could Google books on the stock market, books on X, Y, and Z.
But what specific book? We need a specific
we have
book.
a bunch of them, like Money Master the Game, Mercer, Color of Money. There's, the list continues. There's so many good books that teach you about the banking industry and different things that you should know about, like Freedman's Bank and ways we've been hustled, but how we overcome. But Money Master the Game is a good one when you trying to understand the psychology of money. Is another good book as well. If you're trying to fix your mindset around money. And then, there's a lot of trading platforms, but Tony Robbins, even Earn Your Leisure, shout out to EYL. They're a group of men who create a platform with women and men investors who come in and teach workshops. And a lot of the stuff is on YouTube for free. So, I like a lot of free 99 moments. And then even Coursera and Udemy, you can literally take a lot of workshops on these platforms for free. And you just Google a free code and you plug it in. And then something that might have been $100 course is now free for you. So that's another thing. And Tiffany the Budgetnista, if you're still at the point where you're just learning how to budget and you save and you're like beginner or intermediate, I would tell you she's another good person as well. Tiffany the Budgetnista is a really good person as well. She has a good book as well.
Yeah. The Millionaire Next Door is a really good book.
Excellent. And so now my last question is for you, LaToya. Life happens, especially as a creator in this new creator economy. I mean, the way you think the wave is going up and then all of a sudden it crashes down and the money that you were supposed to make is not being made. So that jarring, that back and forth feast or famine energy, whether or not it's the reality, the energy can be incredibly off-putting. how would you suggest we develop some tools or just some strategies to stay in the game when we are having to learn how to ride the wave? Because things happen, people die, we lose jobs, sometimes you lose opportunities. How do you maintain the ability to stay in the game when things get a little shifty?
Well, life really does happen. 5 days after I gave birth, I was hit by a car while crossing the street with her in my hand. We survived. God is good. So life does happen.
Life be life.
And what came out of that for me was, am I prepared for life? Like, am I actually prepared?
Yeah.
And what's my impact going to be? And am I prepared for that? And it was like, all right, I need life insurance. I need to make sure, things are in place, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like.
Yeah.
As a creator and a creative in a space, when you're waiting on your net 30 that comes net 120, right? Life could happen between 30 and 120.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, and I know this sounds so remedial, but save. Have a cushion, but also have a credit card. Like, have places that can fund your life.
Yeah.
Have things that you can rely on, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and you don't know when someone's going to pay you or not pay you. Right? So for me, I always have multiple savings accounts. I have multiple places that I can pull money from. But most importantly, I have real estate. And having real estate has allowed me to have equity. Having an equity line of credit. I am my own bank.
Mm-hmm.
I legit can pull money out and fund things that makes me more money.
Yeah.
And then I can put the money back and I still have that money.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I'm telling you, when life hits you, you go into overdrive of trying to figure out, how can I be best prepared?
Yeah. So it sounds like you're telling us to make sure we have a plan.
Get a plan.
Okay.
But don't wait for life to happen.
Yeah.
Don't wait for a car to hit you. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, just be proactive with your life. And it's okay.
Yeah, this was so good. Yes.
One thing.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
do not fear rejection. You could get 1,000 no's. It's about the 1,000 no's. It's about that one yes.
Yeah.
Because like, even with wholesaling and real estate, right? 300 people who don't know you can hang up the phone on you. Doesn't matter. One person answers and listens to you, and that person could be a $30,000 commission, right? Because sometimes it's just one yes, right? And so do not fear rejection. Rejection will be your downfall. Fearing rejection will be your downfall. Yeah. It's not about the no's. It's about that one or two yes.
Yes.
My one yes made me a millionaire.
Hey,
okay.
Yes to the one yes. All you need is that one yes.
One yes.
Listen, thank you so much, y'all, for joining this conversation.